Well, hello, everybody. Welcome back to Christmas Clatter. It is October, and I appreciate each and every one of you guys being here in the chat with me as we do this live recording, just another Friday night podcast. Thanks for being here. Mikey, it's good to see you. I did get your email, Mikey, about the Christmas puzzle exchange. I didn't respond, but I do have it. I appreciate it. Ellie, thanks for dropping in. It's great to have you here. Dwayne, thank you, sir, for being here on this afternoon for you. So I appreciate it. Ben, hey, it's been crazy busy. Ben, I apologize. I need to reach out to you and Ernie and Doug, and I have not been around watching PTV on Monday nights because work has been crazy and I haven't been getting off. So my apologies for not being there. Matthew, yes, it is October. Finally. Hey, Ken, thanks for being here as well. Oh, my lovely wife, Holly, thanks for hopping in there and keeping the moderation going with you and Ken. So Dan, hello, good sir. Thank you for being here as well. If you're new to Christmas Clatter here on YouTube, I will take a minute here and pause, and I will actually kind of restart the podcast and, and then go through it, but stick around because when you think I ended the podcast, I haven't ended the podcast because we'll have a special Q&A with our guest, Veronica. Hey, thanks for loving the podcast. It's great to have you here. I really appreciate it. Alex, thanks for hopping in, bub. I really appreciate it. So, but, yeah, got a great show, a lot to talk about. Guys, just make yourself at home. And I really appreciate, like I said, I keep saying I appreciate it. It's because I do. I love building this Christmas community here on YouTube. So I'm going to hit the mute button. I'm going to get a drink, and then I'll start the official recording of the podcast. So I really appreciate it again. And I shouldn't say I appreciate it so much because I feel like a broken record, but it comes from deep within. So I'm just overwhelmed that you guys took time on your Wednesday to join me, or your Thursday afternoon if you're Dwayne. So, all right. Well, hello everybody, and welcome back to Christmas Clatter. It is October. It started raining today. Hadn't had rain in a while, and I believe it's moving out the last of the summer heat. It kind of wanted to hang on through September, but looking at the extended forecast, fall is here for us. We will be like highs in the 60s and lows in the mid 40s, which is just absolutely perfect. And I can't wait. I just can't wait. I saw one of our local restaurants has an apple butter turkey cheddar sandwich that I think I got to try because it sounds so delicious. But all in for fall. September is behind us. October's here. Last speed bump to Christmas, Halloween at the end of the month. And guys, I hope you're planning Christmas already. I know you guys are extra into Christmas being here with me. But man, it's that time of year where it almost feels like it's slipping away already. I was looking at my calendar the other day, trying to plan some stuff with my mom and Holly, and it was like my days off were already full with different things. And it's like, oh my goodness, it's like, it's almost slipping away already, but it's really not. We still have lots of time, but we don't have lots of time to waste. So you guys make sure you're planning that and keep it on top of your Christmas things. So yeah, Christmas puzzle exchange will be happening. I will have be paying attention to the social medias on Monday. I might have them up Sunday, but Monday for sure, which is, what is it, the 9th? It's Columbus Day, Indigenous Peoples Day. I will have them. I will have the sign up sheet for that up there on Monday for the Christmas puzzle exchange. For those that not sure what that is, you just sign up and you buy a new Christmas or winter themed puzzle, and you mail it to somebody else in the country along with a nice Christmas card and a note. And it's a great way to spread a little Christmas cheer, give a little gift, maybe make a new connection with somebody that maybe you wouldn't have before. Here at Christmas Clatter, we love our puzzles, especially around the holidays. They're a great way to unwind and de-stress and, relax. I know that week between Christmas and New Year is one of my favorites because we'll just turn on the classic crooners. We don't have the TV on as much, and we'll just sit there and work a puzzle and just still enjoy the glow of Christmas. But yeah, as far as other announcements, I don't really think I have too much other than the puzzle exchange was one thing I was wanting to get to. We got some great guests lined up coming up. This is the launch of weekly episodes. We will be here every Wednesday from now through Christmas. And man, I can't believe it's that time. It just baffles me. It's all of a sudden it's here. But yeah. Well, our guest for this episode is no stranger to those that love Christmas podcasts. He's one of the people that I've become really good friends with over the past few years as we've ran some of the same Christmas podcast circles. He and myself make up 2/3 of the fabled Saturday Morning Mafia, and all around great guy. I just need to try to do this as the best I can. But the decade was the 1980s. Cartoons were everywhere, selling cereal, selling toys on weekday afternoons and Saturday mornings. People were getting Castle Grayskull, changing their lives. Everybody wanted the USS Flag, but very few got it. And it was a legendary decade. There were only, 3 questions being asked in the 80s. Who shot JR? And where's the beef? I forgot the other question I had in my mind. Anyway, enough said. Here is Gerry D from Totally Rad Christmas. Hit it. Gerry, I should have wrote that down. I should have took your advice and wrote that down. I had it all prepared and it lost it.
But it makes it so much easier when you do.
Yeah. And I had it. I was gonna end it with 1980s when we knew that knowing was half the battle, and that was one to grow on.
That's right. Oh goodness.
Well, Gerry, thanks for joining me here on Christmas Clatter.
Thanks for having me.
I really appreciate it. I don't have you on here as much as I should, but you're just a hard man, busy man to get a hold of. But
well, especially during this time. So as you can see, I work at a Christmas light store. So this is when we're working 6 days a week. My only off day is on Monday. And this is also when I start releasing 2 episodes a week. And then in December, 3 episodes a week. So it gets pretty hairy. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot. For those not familiar with Totally Rad, Gerry's one of the most prolific at releasing episodes. I mean, you've pumped over 200 or close to it out already, haven't you?
Yeah, we're over 200, and I have about 20 ready to go in the can. I still have to edit them, but recorded and ready to go. So yeah, it's been fun.
Yeah, a little behind the curtains. If you record with Gerry, it may be 3 months before you ever hear it.
It's usually true, especially around this time. So I try to get all my recordings done like super early, so that I can actually have December off with my family. So I try to get them all recorded before Thanksgiving if I can. And this year I'm being super ambitious and trying to get them all done before Halloween. We'll see what happens, but yeah, it's fun.
Yeah.
Either way, I get to edit them eventually,
Yeah.
and they get dropped. So you'll
Yeah.
you'll see what
Yeah.
happens.
Yeah. As far as the episode totals, you have lapped me going over 200, So, but
It's only because I'm crazy and I release a million in like my busiest season. So when I'm working like 12 days or 12-hour days, and I don't know what I was thinking.
yeah.
It was all a mistake, and it just kind of I decided to roll with it. But it's
Yeah. Yeah. Who needs sleep anyway?
that's right. That's right. It's overrated.
Yeah. That's,
I can sleep during the off season.
yeah. Absolutely. Let me ask you this, because it's been a while since you've been on Christmas Clatter. So for those that are new, just kind of tell the story of, your inception of Totally Rad and what you wanted to do.
All right, so this is actually all your fault. Uh, no, um, I just mostly I never really listened to podcasts, and then as I started selling insurance, I needed something to do with all the driving, so I started listening to How Did This Get Made, and from there I thought, are there Christmas podcasts? And I found one. It was called Tis the Podcast.
Hmm.
So I was listened to him for about a year and a half, maybe 2 years, and I would comment on their different social media, and finally, they had the thing where if you're a Patreon at a certain level, you can get on the show, and at this point, their disdain, or most of their disdain, I should say, for Rankin Bass, and just I think I'd kinda had it up to here. I have strong feelings about Rankin Bass.
Uh-huh.
So, when it was time to do, like, basically the Avengers of Rankin Bass, Rudolph and Frosty's Christmas in July, it's where
Uh-huh.
Santa, Frosty, and Rudolph all come together. I said, "I have to be on that episode." So I joined him on there, and I guess I did well enough that, you actually messaged me and
Uh-huh.
said, "That was fun. You should be on your own show. You should have your own show." So I I thought about it, and I knew I love Christmas, so it had to be a Christmas podcast, and I knew that I love the '80s, and I wanted to talk, like, all my favorite toys and everything from the '80s, because that's when Christmas was the most magical to me, because that's when I was a kid, so I thought, "You know
Yeah.
what? Let's just mash them together like, any good comic book nerd would," and so that's how Totally Rad Christmas came about, and so I think the episode dropped in July or August, and, that August, after you messaged me, I had the theme song in my head and I recorded it ready to go, but I never actually did anything until, it was the pandemic, and finally I had some time and I thought, "You know what? I gotta do something so I don't go crazy," and
Yeah.
so I finally released my episode, and you were actually my second guest. You were on technically episode 3, but it's the second full-length episode, and we talked about G.I. Joe,
Yeah.
and it was awesome.
That was so much fun. That
Yeah,
was so much fun. But yeah, because I was on Tis the Podcast like a couple of weeks before you, or a month before you or something, and
right,
I had just started Christmas Clatter. I was like one episode in, or something something along those lines. And
right.
then and of course they don't like anything I pick, so but that's fine. you know. But and then I heard you and I was like, man, that guy's way better than I am. He needs to
No,
have his own
not even,
podcast.
not even,
So,
no.
but yeah, and then we got together and did G.I. Joe, and it was like, oh man, we are the same person. You know?
Yeah, I mean, we both played, we dug little ditches in the
Yeah.
dirt, and we played with our Storm Shadow and Snake Eyes, and we both wanted the flag but never got it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Uh,
Absolutely. Yeah. But yeah, that was so much fun. And I might have to toot my own horn here a little bit. I don't have you on Christmas Clatter as much as I like, but I may be your most appeared guest on Totally Rad. I'm not sure, but I'm
well,
close.
so Anthony actually is the most,
Is he?
but, you are the winningest. You won
Yeah,
the most Raddies, so I
that's
do
right.
every year, I do an award show, and it's the Totally Rad Christmas Awards, or Raddies, and
Uh-huh.
you have the most wins,
Oh,
so,
well,
yeah.
yeah, well, 12, but who's keeping track of how many they got?
Nope, not us, yeah.
Well, I'll have to be on a few more episodes. I need to take Anthony out as the most
Well, and it's easier for him because he doesn't have kids, and
Yeah.
so it's he gets off work at a decent hour, unlike us, and
Yeah.
so he's able to hop on a lot more last minute. So
Yeah.
he's got, I think at this point it's like 20 something appearances.
Oh, my mercy.
I know he's like, at this point he's almost my co-host, but
Yeah.
like an
Is it
unofficial co-host, I guess.
yeah. Is that your
But
20 less least listened to episodes probably?
actually, he's on my most listened to, but it's also because it was with Rick Goldschmidt, the official Rankin Bass historian.
Oh, yeah.
Uh, and so, yeah, that's like my most listened to. But yeah, you're still the most winningest or the
Yeah.
winningest. I don't know, whatever you say.
Yeah.
So yeah, so you can really brag about that.
Yeah. Well, what I need to do is win that best guest from New York City award.
I ended up retiring that one after season 2. It was too contentious. I thought
Uh,
I can't do this. This is this someone's gonna start a fight. So
yeah. Yeah.
yeah. Now
Uh,
I started doing themes in the Raddies. So in the first one, spoiler alert, Anthony doesn't actually win any awards
yeah.
on purpose. And then in the second one, um, oh gosh, I don't even remember what my theme was, but I did a theme for that. And then in the third one, it was a Back to the Future theme, and I already have the Raddies 4 planned out, and so
Mhm.
I'm writing the script already. So it's going to be a ton of fun. I'm
Oh,
excited.
yeah. It'll be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel bad because I had the Mary Melee series there for a while.
Oh
And
yeah.
and the last one you hosted for me so I could be in there and
So
fight.
you could play, right?
Yeah, against Anthony and is it Kim from the
Yeah, for
yeah,
planning for Christmas.
yeah, planning for
Mhm.
Christmas. And Anthony won after losing a couple times. He won, legit
He
won.
finally won, yeah.
Yeah, he
Mhm.
did. He legit won. He had a really great strategy of um picking an answer that he knew I would pick so I wouldn't get it.
He totally did.
Yeah, he did. It was awesome. But
Yeah.
Tom was on that episode too, and there was a problem with Tom's audio. And when you're balancing, I think like 6 or 7 people's different audio tracks, it's when one of them's squirrely, it's hard to get it right. So I was
Mhm.
playing with it, and then I had the idea of just taking Tom completely out and replacing him with the adults from the Peanuts.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
You should have. You
yeah,
should still do it. I'd a
yeah,
million percent listen, because you actually won a Ratty for that. It was like the best Christmas Melee host or
yeah,
something like that. Yeah.
yeah. And but then since then I switched computers, and I'm not 100% sure I got those files still.
I
You,
gotcha.
you know, so I could probably dig them up in my time machine or something, but it's like it's so far gone now, and I haven't done
Yeah,
a melee in a while, and I've been trying to reimagine the melee so it's less crosstalk.
right.
Because I think because the last 2 people were complaining that there was so much crosstalk, and the reason was is I was getting tired of editing them because what I would do is I'd go in there and I'd eliminate all the crosstalk and spread it all out.
Oh, that's
and
rough.
at one time I had like 8 people on there. It was like it took forever.
Yeah.
So I've been trying to reimagine it in a way where we could do it live and eliminate a lot of the crosstalk. That way people can hear what people are saying and
It
things.
could be debate style where
Hmm.
one person each person has like a minute or 30 seconds, and then the
Yeah,
next person has like a 10-second rebuttal, and something like that.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, that was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed that, and I actually wrote out my whole intro, and it was like I tried to like really amp it up, and I was, like WrestleMania style, and it was it was just fun. Yeah.
It was. It's something I need to look
Although
into. And
Anthony still maintains that you haven't released it because you lost, because he beat you.
well, we'll just let him think that. I mean,
Yeah, I
that's
gotcha.
more exciting than the audio files were bad.
That's
you
right,
know?
yeah, yeah. Let's start some drama.
Yeah, yeah. We'll just stick with that. And but I do tell people he won, and he did win. He legit
Yeah,
won.
yeah.
So, but let's talk about the '80s.
All right,
Let's
my
talk about the
favorite.
80s. Now we said you had over 200 episodes. Is
Mhm.
there something about Christmas 1980s, anything that you learned since doing Totally Rad that just surprised you?
Well, there was a lot more music that I wasn't aware of. So, like, everybody knows "Last Christmas" by Wham. Everybody
Mhm,
knows the "A Very Special Christmas." Of course, Hall& and Oates have their Jingle Bell Rock. Huey Lewis had their Fan Club,
mhm,
Winter Wonderland release. But there's, like, so much more, and it's, like, really obscure and actually really cool. Joan Jett had, a version of Little Drummer Boy. We
mhm.
had, some of the members of Yes, they did their own, prog rock Christmas song called "Run with the Fox." There's just so much more music. I'm currently have a list of all of the all of the release, or at least the majority that I know of, releases from the '80s, and it's, like, almost 13 pages long.
Oh, wow.
It's yeah, I break it down by year. It's ridiculous how much music there was. So that's, like, my biggest thing that surprised me, because you don't hear a lot of it. You mostly hear stuff from A Very Special Christmas, or
Uh-huh.
Do They Know It's Christmas, or Last Christmas. That's, like,
Yeah.
pretty much it. Um, if a radio station plays it, terrestrial radio, of course. But,
Yeah.
like, yeah, there was just mind-blowingly amounts of that. And then, of course, there's a lot of obscure specials that, some of them I had vague recollections of, like just an image. There was a show called The Mouse, A Mystery and Me. That was
Uh-huh.
a special, and I remember the little mouse, but if you had asked me about it, I wouldn't have been able to name it. So,
Mhm.
doing all this research, I've found, like, really cool things. The decorations were fun, even though by today's standards, they're not great, but
Yeah.
but, they were just cool, and, yeah, there's just a lot of stuff that I didn't realize how much there was. I thought maybe I'd be able to do the show for, like, 5 years tops. I mean, at this rate, my list keeps growing. I could keep the show going for at least 20 years. I mean, it's ridiculous how much stuff there was just in the '80s.
Yeah. That it is wild because that's what I've been on different shows and people are like, why'd you pick Christmas? It's so niche or niche, however you want to say it.
Right.
Like, yeah, but have you dug into the subject of Christmas? There's just so much. Like, you can go history, you can go pop culture, you
Mhm.
can go, tradition. You can, just stick up with the news, what's happening today, and when you get in, when you specify, a decade and get in there, it's like doing research for one of your shows. One of my favorite bands from the '80s was Huey Lewis and the News, which I never knew had any Christmas music. I was like, they never did, but they released a song for people that were in their fan club in the '80s,
In their fan club only, yeah,
only, and it's like I didn't even know it at all. It's like I just thought they just never recorded anything Christmas.
right, and you still can't find it digitally, which is
Yeah,
crazy. Like, they have so, like, greatest hits and box
uh,
sets. Like, why just release it for us?
yeah,
I'd buy the heck out of it, you know?
yeah,
Right now, I have to, like, just download it from, well, sorry, I just have to get it from YouTube
yep,
and, listen to it that way,
yep,
so
yeah.
yeah,
I hear you, and then also a lot of people, you might have heard me say this before or not, but if the show Newhart ever streams anywhere,
oh, it's
uh,
so good.
Jerry and I are starting a podcast called My Other Brother Daryl, and
We should.
and because we discovered the only Newhart Christmas episode. It's
Right.
so fantastic and so good.
It's so good. Yeah, so they had one official Christmas episode and
Uh-huh.
one, like, sort of backdoor Christmas
Yeah,
episode, but I wanted to talk more Newhart with you, so I
yeah,
said, "What else could we do? There's Thanksgiving, let's do a
yeah,
Thanksgiving episode." I
yeah.
gotta find out if there's a Halloween one so we can do that
I was
because
gonna
I
say, I was gonna say maybe there's a Halloween one, but yeah, and I'm still so baffled with streaming and all this. Why is Newhart not anywhere in its
right?
entirety to be streamed? But because I really want to start the Other Brother Daryl podcast.
Mhm. And most of the episodes are on, YouTube or
Yeah,
Daily Motion, but not all of them.
right.
So it's, or if they are, they're not in good quality either, so
Yeah,
Yeah,
Paramount Plus, get on it.
anybody that's, like, listening, that's listening to this that has any kind of dealings with that, please release New Heart on
Yeah.
even if it's on Tubi with
Yeah.
commercials. I'd
So,
take it.
yeah, anything where we can get the whole run, all 9 seasons.
Right.
Such a well-written show, and I remember Holly watching that Christmas special, and she was just best I remember, she was like, "That was," she really enjoyed it, and it was just so
Mhm.
good, so funny, you know.
It's very well written.
Oh, yeah.
It's tight, like not a moment is wasted. All the jokes, while they're, might still be corny by today's standards, they work.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so good. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. What's probably the most absurd '80s Christmas thing you've discovered?
Oh, let's see. Oh, that's hard because I mean, the '80s was a
It was
decade of absurdity.
yeah.
Um, the Pillow People have a Christmas special. I don't know if you remember Pillow
Yeah, I
People.
remember Pillow
They were
People.
a little pillow with, like, arms and legs and faces kinda,
Yeah.
on them, but they have a Christmas special. One thing that I've discovered is that a lot of, like, the toys, so, like, Care Bears, Strawberry Shortcake, Barbie, they actually have Christmas albums as
Yeah.
well. Cabbage Patch Kids, there's a Christmas
Yep.
album,
There's
and
a
while some of
couple
those
of
are
them, I think.
actual they do, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
and so while some of those are actually, like, albums, like
Mhm.
actual with songs, there's a few that are just stories. The Strawberry Shortcake Christmas album has absolutely nothing to do with Christmas, but it's called the Strawberry Shortcake Christmas album, so that's kinda out there. Uh, but,
Is it Life Day
uh
or what?
no, it's like it's just generic winter. It's
Oh,
they don't even mention the word Christmas in it. They just put Christmas on the on the
on the
title, I
cover.
guess. I don't
Classic
It was
'80s
weird.
move.
There's a lot of action movies, like action and horror movies in the '80s that are all Christmas. So,
Yeah.
there's Christmas Evil, Silent Night, Deadly Night, and
Uh-huh.
all its sequels. There's a bunch of others. There's a Invasion USA, Night
Yes.
of the Comet, Running Scared, which I just did an episode on, that's going to be releasing this season. Like all these just action movies that and at my podcast, Totally Rad Christmas, I take a page out of Christmas Clatter's book. And so as long as it mentions the word Christmas or there's a Santa in the background or anything,
Yep.
I'll cover it on my show. So, Running Scared is absolutely 100% not a Christmas movie, but the climax, there's wreaths in the background, there's Christmas, and there's a giant, it's like a 25-foot tall Christmas tree that is in this building that, of the climax. So I count it. We're gonna cover I did an episode on Karate Kid because in the original, the All Valley tournament is like December 19th, and so there's Christmas decorations in the background of a scene, so that was my excuse to cover it, and that's admittedly more '80s than Christmas. I just wanted to
Yeah.
talk the Karate Kid because I love the Karate Kid. So doing an episode on Tron, there's a few others, but yeah, there's some wild stuff, and I just could not believe how much has a Santa or
Yeah.
Christmas or just something in the background even. It's wild.
Yeah. That seems like that's gone away in movies for some reason,
Mhm.
you know. Um, but everybody doing Christmas podcasts out there, you're welcome for my standard of what is a Christmas movie. And you know, but yeah, because I just messaged you the other day. I was like, hey, me and Holly just watched Weird Al's UHF, and there was a Christmas scene in the Specialist City commercial, so totally qualifies.
It counts. We're
Yeah,
covering it. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. I'm doing an episode on Weird Al with Christmas at Ground Zero with Tim Babb.
uh-huh,
So we got to get that scheduled. But we can totally, I'd be down to talk UHF with you. And if Michael wants to join us and make it a Saturday morning mafia, make you guys have a four-peat on Raddest Duo,
yeah,
then I'm completely down.
oh yeah,
Um, but yeah, and I don't necessarily myself subscribe to the standard, but according to my show, that counts, and we're gonna do it. So
yeah, yeah. Well, talking Christmas movies and what makes a Christmas movie, of course, you have the Linus
uh-oh.
moment
I know where this is going.
and all that. I just, you know, then you're just splitting hairs after a while. And yeah,
Yeah.
I accept that my role has ridiculousness in it. I accept it.
Mhm.
But at least I can be cut and dry on what is a
Right.
Christmas movie or not a Christmas movie. You know.
Right.
And I know me and you differ on Die Hard, but
Well, not my show doesn't. My show
no,
agrees with you. So
no, the show doesn't. But
yeah,
you know, I just like the cut and dry, and I just kind of ended
yeah,
the debate. And like I said, I know there's silliness that goes with it, and
right,
but you
right.
know, there's always room around the Christmas tree. So
I agree, and I think it opens up a whole lot of more content,
yeah,
especially in the '80s, because there's not like you think about the big movies. There's like what Scrooge, The Christmas Story, Christmas Vacation, Gremlins.
yeah,
Like there's not a whole lot in the '80s. So at
right,
least for movies, I can cover more because of this, that particular point of view. In
yeah.
fact, I just noticed there's a Santa hanging on the closet in the behind Peter Falk in The Princess Bride.
Yep,
So now that opens it up for me to cover that as well.
inconceivable.
That's right. Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
you know that's the thing. I can't remember if it was your podcast or another one we were doing, but I had like 1984, which was when Gremlins came out. It was like the only
Hmm.
Christmas movie that came out that year, and it came out in June.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
but it
And that's
was
pretty common. Yeah.
yeah, and what Die Hard was a March release, maybe something like that. It
Want to
was
say it was also June, but it could be March. I
yeah.
don't remember
I know it
off
was
the top of
not
my head.
holiday season.
Right.
You know, I know it wasn't a holiday season release. I don't believe the first, Lethal Weapon was a holiday season release either. But
Right.
of those, you know, Gremlins is the most like legit at Christmas time
Right.
movie.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Die Hard is too because of the Christmas party and stuff. But yeah, but then released in June because I remember going to see Gremlins at the theater and then going to play a little league baseball game that afternoon. And
Nice.
but didn't
I
think of
saw
nothing about it.
I saw Ghostbusters and Gremlins as a double feature, and I was completely scared out of my mind from Ghostbusters with the library scene.
Yeah.
So I remember like hiding for, averting my eyes for most of it.
Hmm.
Gremlins, Gizmo was super cute, and then I fell asleep. So
Yeah.
I don't know if I don't know if I really saw it, but
Yeah.
Um, well, Ken wants to know if Pee Wee Herman had a Christmas episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a Christmas special. So I just so okay. One thing that I didn't do that I started doing at the very tail end of season 2 was adding clips into it. I started splicing clips and sound effects, something I wanted to do from the beginning but never did. And so I'm
Uh,
slowly going back and re-editing those old episodes. I did just finish re-editing, especially after Paul um, after
Ruben.
his death.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, and Paul Rubin's death. So I re-edited that one. So you can listen to the full Pee Wee's Playhouse Christmas special episode as well, and it's on my website, of course. But yeah, I know what you
Yeah.
mean. I know, and I think what you were talking about was it was Two Truths and a Lie,
Yes.
80s edition
Yeah.
from Christmas Past, and you and I were the guests. And the first time I lost so badly, and the second time I kind of cheated a little bit and won. So
Well, that's what you got to do. You got to. Well, you didn't
it's the
cheat.
only
You
way I
just
could win. I
yeah.
lost so bad I had to make up for it somehow.
Yeah. It wasn't cheating. You played within the rules. you know.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah. So
I but I'm like Captain Kirk. I don't believe in the unwinnable situation, the
yeah.
unwinnable scenario. So if someone asks me to like name 5 things, I'm gonna name 10 because it's a Kobayashi Maru
Yeah.
situation. So
All right. Well, then let me ask you this. Then, what is your very favorite Christmas thing from the 80s?
Hmm. So it's probably Christmas Vacation.
Yeah.
That as soon as I mean, as far as like media,
Uh-huh.
as soon as Christmas season happens, I have to watch Christmas Vacation, or it just doesn't feel like Christmas.
Right.
That's one of those, and it's in my top 3. It's either number 1, 2, or 3, depending on my mood,
Hmm.
actually. So even during a December month, it can actually kind of fluctuate. It's between Home Alone and Scrooged as well. And so but that one, it's just you get all the feels, and now that I'm a dad, I totally get what Clark was trying to do,
Yeah.
and it just hits hard a little bit harder. So that's probably it, but if it's, something personal, it would probably be decorating the tree. No, it would probably be actually Christmas caroling with my family,
Yeah.
and we would go, door to door singing, just my mom's favorite carols and different ones for different houses, and then they usually invite us in and give us hot chocolate and or, apple cider or something like that. So that's
Yeah.
probably my most favorite thing from the '80s, but that's a little more personal.
Yeah. Veronica's saying that Roku channel has Newhart.
Oh, awesome, and that's Newhart, not the Bob Newhart show?
So
That's awesome, we'll have to check it out.
we'll have to check it out. And so stay
Yeah.
tuned for 2024. There may be a new podcast.
For real.
So, just what we need, Jerry. Something else to do.
I know, I know. We gotta pre-record them though because I'm
Yeah.
recording like a madman now.
Yeah.
No, it'd be fun.
Yeah. Absolutely. But, well, I know the answer to this. I've heard it before, but for those that maybe not, what was your favorite gift you ever received at Christmas in the 80s?
Yeah, I think I've said this on several different,
Uh,
shows, but it's definitely Castle Grayskull. It was Christmas of '84, and it was one of the coolest things I've ever gotten. I just, waking up Christmas morning, running to the tree, and there it was, just sitting under the tree. And I opened it up, and there was a couple of He-Man figures as well. There was, I think, Man at Arms was there, and Faker, and a few others, and it was just, it was amazing. And
yeah.
I still have it. It's sitting about 3 feet from me, right over there, actually. And,
Yeah.
yeah, my kids played with it,
Uh-huh.
and it was the most amazing gift, and so I've never forgotten that one. I did get Voltron the next year in '85, and that was super cool. It was, not the plastic one, but the die-cast metal,
Uh-huh.
but it still wasn't quite as good as Castle Grayskull, so
Yeah. Something about that He-Man Christmas was
Mhm.
just that it just I guess it hit at the right age
Right.
with the right toys, with the right, kind of sensation with the cartoons and stuff. And it just I got Castle Grayskull too, and
Yeah.
it's still at my mom's, and all her grandkids and have played with it,
Yeah.
still, my kids and my sister's kids and stuff. And it's just something about that He-Man, and even GI Joe and Transformers had those, but just something about
Yeah.
that He-Man Christmas was just extra magical,
Yeah, yeah, and well, and it's a playset too, right? I mean,
Mhm,
it's like your figures go in it, so
mhm.
Um, I don't know, it's just well, and it looked cool, it's like the
Yeah,
skull castle and but yeah, just sitting under the Christmas tree and, we didn't have like a huge tree, it was just a little cheapy one,
yeah,
because my parents were teachers and couldn't afford a lot, but yeah, knowing that Santa brought that to me, it was amazing.
yeah, yeah. It's just something about it. And I remember getting Trap Jaw and being
Oh,
super
yeah.
excited. You know,
He was cool because you
yeah,
could change his arm out with,
yeah,
like, the gun or the clamp or the hook,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
It's good stuff.
It is super. Did you ever get a dud Christmas gift in the 80s?
Probably, so no, I don't wanna say who because, I don't wanna put anyone on blast if they end up
Yeah,
watching it, but, there was a relative that, usually would just get, like, a Tonka truck or something, just a,
yeah,
little plastic truck, which would have been cool if I was, like, 2 or 3, but when you're, like, 6 and you've already at this point, He-Man and Voltron have come out and Mask,
yeah,
Transformers, it wasn't quite as impactful.
yeah,
So, yeah, but, never really anything dud from Santa. He always kinda seemed to know exactly what we wanted, of course, we'd write to him, but yeah, that
yeah. I
mhm.
know.
So,
Yeah.
unnamed relative, I apologize.
I, I don't want to sound. I don't want to say it um, ungrateful. But one year Santa brought me Voltron, But it was the Cars Voltron and not the
Oh,
Lions
no.
Voltron.
Oh, no, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. That's harsh.
It was rough. I didn't know what to do with it. I didn't
It
even know it existed.
You had to specify.
Yeah.
If
Well,
you didn't specify which one.
it was probably the only one that you could find, kind of like
Probably.
on the Jingle All the Way, how you can get Brewster, but you can't get Turbo Man,
Oh, yeah.
So,
Oh, yeah.
but
Well, and, I loved the cartoon of the lion Voltron.
mhm.
I never saw the vehicle Voltron cartoon, but I hear it's good, so,
Yeah,
it probably
most
was cool, just,
yeah.
yeah, I
See,
understand.
yeah, I mean, I liked Voltron. I didn't see a lot of it. We didn't have cable growing up, so
Oh, you're right.
what I got to see of it was like after school at my grandparents' house. You know, if I actually got control of the TV, um, but I think I might have seen like one episode with the cars. Maybe
Right.
it seems like it's familiar, but I've seen so many clips and like little mini documentaries on YouTube about all that stuff. I can't remember if I actually saw it there or if I, just remember seeing clips or something,
Mhm.
and things. But yeah. Well, Jerry, I need your reaction for something. For
Okay.
those listening, we have the Essential Christmas Music playlist that I
Okay.
put together this year, and you helped me with some of it, best I remember. And I got a few more songs to add. Now, I have been adding them to the playlist the night before, and then when I was leaving work today, I realized I didn't add the songs to the playlist last night.
Uh-oh.
So I will add them when we're done here. I will go ahead and add them to the playlist as soon as this episode is over. But let's take a look at this list. For those that maybe don't know, this is just a list. This is I went through and wrote and collected as many Christmas songs as I could, and only picked out the ones that were essential. Now, each song could have up to 2 different people singing it. The example I always give is White Christmas. You have Bing Crosby, you have the Drifters. That's the only White Christmas you get, but there's no limit on the artists or anything like that. So every episode from now till the episode before Thanksgiving, I will release a group of songs in it. That way the list is, the playlist is complete going into the big holiday season. So with this group, we have Silver Bells with Dean Martin, 2,000 Miles, The Pretender, Santa Tell Me, Ariana Grande, Step Into Christmas, Elton John, Is That You, Santa Claus, Louis Armstrong, Blue Christmas, Elvis Presley, Cool Yule, Louis Armstrong, Up on the Rooftop, Gene Autry, and All I Want for Christmas Is You, Mariah Carey. And that's the list. All singles this time, 2 Louis Armstrongs. All these songs are were pulled randomly from the list, so that I don't want this to be a ranking. It's a list. So, Jerry, what do you think of this group of songs for Essential Christmas?
2,000 Miles is a fantastic song, and for me, on my show, I think it's essential. I don't know if I'd say it's essential in general, um, but I really like the song, so I'm glad
Mhm.
it's there. Elton John, I feel like that's one you have to have just because terrestrial radio plays it a
Yeah.
million times an hour, like, every year.
Yeah.
Same thing with All I Want for Christmas Is You, that I mean, at this point, like, it has to be
Yeah.
on,
It's
right?
a juggernaut of a song.
Exactly.
Hmm.
I do like Gene Autry's version of Up on the Housetop. Is That You, Santa Claus by Lou I think I'm more familiar with Buster Poindexter's version,
Okay.
than I am with, Louis Armstrong, but I still love the song, so I'm good with that. Blue Christmas, another I mean, Elvis Presley, again, that's like a powerhouse.
Yeah.
You heard it all the time on the radio, um, back when people listened to the radio.
Yeah.
Cool Yule by Louis Armstrong, okay, um, let's see, Santa Tell Me, yeah, I hear that one a lot too at
Mhm.
work. that's on the radio, and Silverback. That's a solid list. I mean,
Yeah.
uh, the only one that I might not have essential in general is Cool Yule and 2,000 Miles. All the rest I think are 1,000,000% essential. But those two, like I said, 2,000 Miles, I love. For the 80s, you gotta have it. Cool Yule, I like a completely different song called Cool Yule by the Rebel Pebbles that I think is worthy of being, like, on the top everything Christmas list, but it never gets any play. It was, like, released once, and, but yeah, I mean, this is a great
Yeah.
list. I can't
Yeah.
argue with it.
Yeah. See, that was the thing about doing the essentials. It's like I had to put myself in the mindset of lots of different people from different
Mhm.
walks of life.
Right.
Because if I made an essential Christmas playlist for myself, there would be a lot of overlap, but there would be a lot of songs that would be different as well.
Right.
And so trying to make a list that everybody can listen to and be like, yep, that's my song. That's my song.
Mhm.
That's my song. And then maybe I'm not familiar with that one, but it's on this list. I'll listen and then maybe they'll adopt it, kind of thing. So it was a struggle.
Mhm.
It was a lot of fun, but it was a struggle to get it put together. But yeah, it's and fortunately every week's, and I think it'll continue. Every week has been a solid list.
Mhm.
And that's just kind of the nature of it. But it's going to end up being 120 songs in total.
Wow.
So yeah,
Yeah,
and
that's good.
that counts the ones that are doubled up. We don't have any doubles this week, but that's just random. Uh, that was just the randomness of selecting them. And like I said,
Right.
I didn't add these to the playlist yet. I've been trying to do that on Tuesdays, but I forgot last night. I guess I got off work too late, but
It happens.
yeah, it happened. So, Gerry, thanks for joining me. Let everybody know where they can find you and Totally Rad Christmas.
Yeah, well, the easiest place is totallyradchristmas.com. It's got links to everywhere. It's even got an about us section where you're listed as one of the all stars as well. But yeah, totallyradchristmas.com. You can find me any place that you can listen to podcasts. Except Stitcher because that's not around anymore. And yeah, so I'm on Facebook and Instagram at Totally Rad Christmas, Twitter at Rad Christmas. Um, Blue Sky at radchristmas.bsky.social. I'm on Mastodon at totallyradchristmas.mastodon.world, but I never really use it. And I do have a Facebook group. So it's a Totally Rad Christmas Mall and Arcade, where if you guys want to throw something Christmas or 80s related on, it's cool with me as long as it's not vulgar or obscene. So yeah, I'm around.
Yeah.
And apparently, I'm on everybody's show at some point, so, you can find me on other podcasts as well.
The links to Gerry will be they are down in the description here on YouTube, and will be in the show notes of the podcast episode as well. That way, you guys are just a tap away. So, Gerry, again, thanks you for joining me here on Christmas Clatter. For those listening to the podcast, I really appreciate you taking time to listen to me and Gerry just kind of talk about some fun Christmas stuff and hang out. We really appreciate it. If you ever get the chance to hop over and catch us live on YouTube on a Wednesday night, we'd love to see you over there as we try to make the best Christmas community on the internet on YouTube that we can. And for those in the chat that are watching us now, stay put. Once I end this, we'll have a little Q&A. If you have a question for Gerry, go ahead and put it in the comments. But until I see you guys next time, remember, keep Christmas hope alive every day. All right, guys. I see Ben had his classic dig on Mariah Carey. She is coming to Kansas City to do a Christmas show. I would really love to go, but tickets were start at like $130. It's like,
Mhm.
Kansas City's like 7 hours away, 6 hours away. And so you'd have to get a room. I just don't. I love Mariah Carey. Just don't know if I love her, you know, $750 to $1,000 worth.
No, definitely
especially
not.
right at
Hey,
the
Dwayne.
holidays. So
How's it going, Dwayne? I see he said, "Hey, Gerry."
yeah. Veronica says I've heard a lot of the songs. I've never heard of on the essential thing. Yeah, right. That's great. That's kind of why it's there. Like I said, I took so many different mindsets. Trying to define what is essential was like the toughest thing, because there's different ways you can define it. It's like something that's necessary. That you have to have. Well, that's so different between like you said, you watch Christmas Vacation, and it's like you have to watch it or it doesn't feel like Christmas. But I love that show, but I've gone a couple holiday seasons before and just never got around to watching it. However,
Right.
if I miss It's a Wonderful Life, Christmas is ruined.
And that's really how I am with the top 5 like specials. So Charlie Brown, The Grinch, and then Rudolph, Frosty, and Santa Claus is Coming to Town. Like I got to watch all those 5 or something's wrong with that Christmas. Like it doesn't count.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just, it's Christmas is over.
Maybe the essential Christmas movie playlist will be next year. But it'll only be like 10 movies or 12
I know. Oh man, I just covered this French film for an episode that's going to drop this season. Apparently it's like beloved over there. It was not good. And so I understand. You got to narrow that list down.
List of essential Christmas TV specials might be more interesting, and you could probably get more of those listed than you could movies.
There's a ton. I mean, even in just the 80s, there's like a ton. Essential Christmas podcast list. Ever thought about doing a show on the Atari 2600? Yes, that is planned. It's probably going to be next season, but I am planning on doing a show on Atari 2600. They actually had in Atari magazine there was actually some Christmas advertisements and stuff. It was really cool.
Dwayne says the essential Christmas podcast list. I'll put that together right now. Tinsel Tunes, Totally Rad Christmas, and Christmas Clatter. So
boom, nailed it.
And the North Pole News Dispatch, and then I need a 5th one. Can't Wait for Christmas Podcast.
There you go.
There's 5. So, hey, Dan's wanting to know if your thoughts on M and Otter's Jug Band Christmas.
Ooh, I love it. It's not very Christmassy. It's more of like Gift of the Magi style Christmas. But I love it. It was one of my all-time favorites growing up. In college, we had a half-price books across the street, and I found a VHS copy, and I bought it and still own that VHS copy, although I have nothing to watch it on anymore. But So I love it. Fantastic.
Yeah, I love it too. It's one of my favorites. Yeah, Dwayne says Christmas Morning Podcast. We need to put that on the list too. Okay. We'll put that on the list too. But Ben suggesting could do it for Hallmark films too on the essential ones. So that would be possible, especially if you went back to do like some of the Hallmark Hall of Fame, like the one where the Mrs. Claus one with Jessica Lansbury.
Mrs. Santa Claus.
Yeah. If you went back to that stuff, so. Ken's wanting to tap your knowledge of Christmas lights. It's like, is there a particular brand of C9 outdoor lights you like?
Well, if you're going for LED, there's a couple. So at our store, we use 2 brands called Wonderful and one called Platinum Elite. Wonderful is nice because it's a polycarbonate bulb. It is what's called Opticore style, so it's really bright. Another good brand is Minleon, Minleon. We used to sell that when we kind of moved away from it, for reasons that I won't get into here. But But that was so it's really fantastic brand. I like that one. I'm not a huge fan of holiday bright lights. S4 are good, but they're kind of small for C9s. So I mean, I kind of stick with, of course, what we have at our store is wonderful. But if you go with Minleon, you can't go wrong with that either. Anything Opticore, as long as it says Opticore, you're in pretty good hands. So
that's good to know. Opticore.
Yeah. Yeah, it's particular shape of the bulb that it makes it brighter.
Yeah. Yeah. I have to remember. I bought some lights years and years ago, before I knew you, Jerry, from like 1000lights.com or something like that.
Oh, yeah, 1,000 bulbs, yeah.
Yeah, 1000bulbs.com. And they're little like concave LED lights, and they have held up so well. I still use
like
them.
minis? They're little
minis, and I put them outside, and they look great.
Yeah.
And I still use them. I guess I've had them 10 years, and I still don't have any burnout.
Right.
And,
yeah. So that's called a button light.
Yeah.
It's also kind of a wide angle conical, and it's just designed specifically to be bright, and yeah, they're good.
Yeah. Yep. Ben caught my slip up, Jessica
Jessica Lansbury. Oh, I didn't even notice.
It was Angela Lansbury.
Angela, right.
It was Murder, She Wrote. Grandma Detective. That's who it was.
Right. That's right.
No, but nothing gets by Ben. He's on top of it. Dwayne's saying you need to do a live stream from your store. So,
Oh, that'd be fun. I need to get better with that stuff. I'm much better at audio than I am at video, and even promoting it on like Instagram and TikTok and stuff. I'm not good at that. So I'll try to be better about that, Dwayne, and get something for you.
Yeah. Yeah. Ken's like, have you ever seen the Pac-Man Christmas special? I will say yes, because I think I was on that episode. Was I?
I think it was Jeff Lofton that was on that episode. Okay. Yeah.
I was thinking of Mario with
the Mario,
yeah,
which was also fun. Yes.
Yeah.
I have seen Pac-Man. It's out there, but I still like it. It's typical 80s Hanna-Barbera style, Ruby Spears style cheese, but it's fantastic. I really enjoy it because it hits all the nostalgia buttons, and it actually is kind of sweet as well. Yeah, it's good stuff.
Yeah. Dwayne likes he likes his addressable LEDs, but really misses the old yellow static light displays as well. So
yeah, and I'm the same way. There's like I love watching all the cool RGB stuff, the programmables, and they're just fantastic. If you're doing pixels or some of the other stuff like X lights or whatever. But there is something more, again, because I grew up in the 80s. There's something more nostalgic for me about seeing like frosted C9s or a filament style bulb. Even if it's an LED facsimile of it, there's just something that to me says Christmas. But I will 1,000,000%, if I could afford it and had the time, I totally would do addressable, RGB style LEDs as well. So the fact that Dwayne does it and does fantastic with it, that does these amazing displays is just phenomenal.
It is.
So
it is. He was on our first episode this season, and he kind of got the fire in me to try it on a tree in the house first. I'm not going to be able to pull it off this year, but it's definitely one of those things that's stirring in the back of my mind. And I got all these old school incandescent C9s from a yard sale, and a lot of them work. And I'm like, I'm going to put them on the tree here, and I put like some on there and just started throwing a breaker like crazy.
yeah, that's the downside. Each one of those is 7 watts. And
I was like, this ain't gonna work. So I remember years ago when it might have been me and Holly's first Christmas. She didn't know what she was getting into, and I ended up putting 2,400 incandescent lights on our tree.
Oh my goodness, your electric bill.
Yeah, and it was December in Missouri. It was cold outside, but when I turned on the tree, we had to open the front door, let the heat out, and then we found out we couldn't run the microwave and have the tree on at the same time, or it would throw the breaker. So
yeah. Can I say that I don't know why that reminds me of it? Maybe because you're talking about one of your first Christmases, but the 12 Dates of Christmas. I love that movie.
Yes.
So that was the episode you were talking about
Yeah.
on Tis the Podcast that you were on, and I liked it a lot.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
Mhm.
I do too. It's still one of my favorites. It is absolutely wonderful. I mean, it is like to me it's like a real upscale Hallmark movie,
yeah,
but the payoff at the end with the Christmas party scene at the
yeah,
house with all the people.
everybody there. Yeah,
Oh my gosh. I could just watch that like last 10 minutes and just be all Christmas mush because it
hmm
just so you see all the new relationships and the old relationships that are being celebrated, and it's like so good. And yeah, I spritzed her and she passed out. We say that gets said almost every day at our house.
Nice.
So we
That's
need
awesome.
next time we're looking for a movie, we need to watch that one because it's been
Yeah,
a little bit
it's a
since
good
I've
one.
seen it. Mhm.
It's a good one.
It's
So
solid. We need to figure out how to get that onto your podcast. Maybe I'll cover it.
we'll just do a bonus episode or something.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
Well, it's
Yeah,
got, Zach from Saved by the Bell on there, and
that's true.
that
Yeah, he
came
was
out.
from the 80s.
Yeah. So, yeah. Maybe I'll do it on this one. I haven't covered it on this one.
You should. Yeah.
Yeah.
Get Holly on. Talk about it. It would be
Yeah.
awesome.
That's what we'll do. That's a good idea.
hmm
That's
I'd
a
listen
good
to the
idea.
heck out of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll see if she's up for it. I don't know if she'll be up for it or not. So I am going to tease something. I haven't talked to her yet, but I have 100% feelings that she's going to do it. I'm going to have a very special guest on probably either the first week of December. It might be the Wednesday after Thanksgiving, which isn't December yet,
Right.
or the first week in December. But I think I'm going to have my mom on for a guest.
Nice.
Yeah.
That'll be good.
She's the one that's kind of passed down the Christmas gene,
Right.
and which runs strong in my family. I have a cousin that just is a Christmas nut through and through, and same as us. So yeah, I was wanting to have her on because people have asked me to have her on before, and
hmm
she puts up 25 trees. Holly's been helping her this week start decorating, to get ready for the holidays and stuff. So she'll probably watch this and then call me and be like, surprised. So, but Gerry, man, I really, again, I appreciate you being here with me, coming on and chatting. Guys in the chat, thanks so much again for showing up and being here for supporting me and Gerry and all the other creators out there that do Christmas, that love Christmas, because I'd probably do it if nobody listened, but it's just nice knowing that I'm not just the sole Christmas crazy guy anymore. There's plenty of us. There's plenty of us out there that just love it and can't get enough. But guys, like I told those in the podcast, until I see you again next week. We'll be back next Wednesday. I have a guest lined up. I need to double check with him, make sure he'll be here and that all is good. But we'll have another guest and take a little bit different Christmas direction. And till I see you again, keep Christmas hope alive every day.